Hi everyone, and welcome to an episode of My Favorites for the month of April. So I'm going to start with another book. The name of the book is Good and Mad, The Revolutionary Power of Women's Anger, and it's written by Rebecca Traister. Now Rebecca has written several other books, but this one really caught my attention because it truly starts to address the double standard between men expressing their anger and women expressing their anger. And she really takes the reader on a little bit of a journey. She starts with really demonstrating, the whole premise of this book is really demonstrating that when women are dissatisfied or they have resentments, whether they're personal or political or based in society standards, that it's not until they express their rage or they get good and mad that they actually can shift the dial on social change. So how she starts is she really starts back with the suffragette movement, and then she moves a little bit forward to the working women's movements from the early 19th century. She goes forward again and starts to address civil rights and human rights, and then of course the women's movement, and she brings you all the way up to current events with the political activists of today. It is a unique treatment of a very serious double standard that exists in our society, because one of the things that she brings up over and over again is that if a man expresses his anger, he is either seen as brave, justifiably outraged, and this is part of being a man. If a woman expresses her anger, then she's not being ladylike. She is out of control, she's half hysterical, or she's erring on the side of bitchiness. And what I found so uniquely clever about this book is that it raises the awareness of the reader to understand how the media skews our perception of these things. Whether the media person could be a man that's interviewing a woman, or it could even be a woman who's interviewing a woman, or it could be a lot of pundits around a panel trying to dissect maybe a debate or a speech. It raises the reader's awareness to some of the words that are being used to talk about women or to characterize women inappropriately when anger is appropriately expressed. So the reason why I want to bring this book up is because so many competent, wonderful, dynamic, and brave women are now running for public office. And the race in 2020, I'm without a doubt, is going to be crucial, and it's going to be bloody. And people will be outraged and angry. And I just really want to share with you the perspective of this author so that your awareness can be raised as well, so that you are listening to the message of these brave women and not necessarily being sidetracked or confused about what that message really means in light of the emotion, the passion, the outrage, the anger, the dissatisfaction, or I'm mad as hell and not taking it anymore, that comes across in that message that then can be mischaracterized as inappropriate. Just listen carefully to what the author is sharing, and then listen to how the media is portraying other women. It is incredible. And although I was somewhat savvy to this, I know that my radar is far more attuned now, so that going into the 2020 election, I will be not only listening to the message, but listening with a very critical ear into how these great women are going to be portrayed. So my favorite mindfulness tool for the month of April is the Angelic Messenger cards. And these are divine guidance cards that have been put forth by Meredith Young Sowers. Now, I got into a very bad habit. I get up very early in the morning, usually about 5:30, give or take, and I usually, just get a cup of coffee and try to make sure I'm awake and aware, and then I would turn on the news, and I would start my day with the 6 a.m. news. Well, as you can imagine, the 6 a.m. news is no way to start your day, all right? Especially when you're trying to be mindful of your resilience, be mindful of your attitude, and I am an applied positive psychology practitioner, and it just seemed a little counterintuitive to start with the morning news as opposed to starting with a piece of positivity. So I actually mended my evil ways, and I found these wonderful angelic messenger cards kits. So this is a kit, and it comes with angelic messenger cards and then an interpretive book. And what's really lovely is that you pick the card at random, and the cards they're numbered, and they can talk about relaxation, power, divine guidance, love, and so on. So the whole idea is to pick that random card, or at least the way I'm using them, is to pick a random card in the morning, and then you take this numbered card and you find the passage or the angelic message in this interpretive book. And it's such a great way to start your day with a positive thought, a positive message, knowing full well that you're connected to something greater than yourself. And the difference it has made in my morning, the difference it's made in my resilience, I actually found that I don't get tired around 10 o'clock in the morning the way I used to. Again, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, that wouldn't be such a stretch, but around 10:30 I found myself dragging. And once I stopped looking at the 6 a.m. news right away and really put this powerful little tool or this whole little practice into my world, I made it right through lunch before I knew it. And again, with an attitude and a sense of positivity and a sense of can do, and a sense of, even if the day isn't exactly the way I wanted it to be, the sun's still out there and it will come back tomorrow. So I highly recommend this practice or any other practice that you want to incorporate into your morning. But please start each day with something positive. So my favorite beauty product for April is a good night's sleep. And I don't care what you do, what kind of beauty regime or health regime you have, if you are not sleeping well, you're not going to get the benefits of any of these products or practices. And I found something. This was actually a gift from my sister, and I am so very grateful, Patty. It's a weighted blanket. Now, let me tell you about the virtues of a weighted blanket. When you first put it on, now if you're someone who says, I could never sleep with a weighted blanket because it's just too hot, and I have issues, with it being too hot when I sleep anyway, I really would like you to at least try it, because quite honestly, while it definitely gives you the warmth of a blanket, it is not overly hot, and I think it's made of a material that actually breathes. So I've never found myself excessively warm with this or uncomfortably warm with this. The blanket is actually weighted to about 10 or 15 pounds, depending on the size of the blanket that you purchase. Now, these come in full sizes, throw sizes, and even shawl sizes. This one is actually a full size, right? And when you think of, how you can snuggle with somebody, and and that helps you fall asleep. Well, this is what this actually does. I'm not sure how it works, but it works. The weight of this blanket is extremely comforting. The weight of this blanket really allows you to feel like you're getting this consistent hug, and it just really helps you relax your muscles, and the next thing you know, you've fallen asleep, and you're waking up at an appropriate time. This is also, I have found, and I've spoken to a couple of friends about the virtues of a weighted blanket, and one of my friends actually said that she had it for one of her children who has some behavioral outbursts, and when she really wants to capture this child's attention, she will put this weighted blanket on the child and then try to have a conversation that either de-escalates that moment or helps to bring that child to a place of a little bit more inner peace. When she shared that story with me, I actually purchased another blanket that I use now and I keep handy for my coaching sessions, because oftentimes during coaching, when you're kind of confronting things that can be a little bit painful, tears do come up, or the person can become anxious, and it can be a moment of trying desperately to share but being very uncomfortable while they're sharing. I offer them this blanket. They either put the blanket around them like a shawl, or they put it over them like I have it right now, and they look at me like, what magic blanket is this? And I just smile. Again, I'm not going to recommend any brand because I really don't know if there's a particular brand out there. But I'm sure that this is on Amazon. The virtues of it cannot be understated, and I know so many of you out there as professional and family caregivers have issues with sleeping, or your sleep is interrupted because you're caregiving and other demands that are competing with having a good night's sleep. At least for the sleep that you get, I recommend a weighted blanket so that you can have the best sleep possible for the time allotted to you. Again, there's nothing that's going to work better for your beauty than a good night's sleep.